I remember back to a time we didn't have these kind of problems. Surely the devil's got better things to do than befoul our little village.
No, I'm not one for superstition. But I just can't see no rational explanation for it.
That train left Halifax full of people. When she putted to a stop just outside town, empty of fuel, with nothing on board but a dead man in his coffin, and this here lunatic.
Please, kind sirs, please don't label me a lunatic. If only you knew, bird of this pushy new world, what it is I really am. I'm a beacon.
All right, Beacon Boy. What happened on that train? Where did everybody go? Was it robbers that forced them to disembark?
Worse than that. So much more dire than that. It was a moving massacre. Passengers were being picked up, preyed upon, one at a time. The engineer and crew last of all. And only 5 of us knew what was really going on.
Who was the dead man in the coffin?
That was the master. His enemies in Europe, Van Helsing and the like. They transport across the ocean a necessary burden. I came with him because I'm his daylight guardian, and because I truly have no one else. His entrance into this blighted backwoods township of yours was far too conspicuous for his liking. He has no desire but to keep the peace. He'd be a good neighbor if you let him. His brides only feed when they need to.
Absolute gibberish! How unfortunate to have a bedlamite as their only surviving witness.
We'll send this one into London. He can paint the walls of the sanatorium with his own waste, until Providence mercifully snuffs him out. We offered him the regular jailhouse supper, but he keeps on asking for bugs and worms.
Swear you'd be doing this man a favor if you just put a bullet right through his temple.
Serious now. Do you want me to?
No, I don't want you to. It's not in the way normal do things around here, is it?
No, not normally. But none of this counts as normal.
And you can get no coherent information out of him about this abandoned train?
No. It's just master this, and European persecution that. Someone named Van Helsing. And he'd be licking the dried flies off the sill if he could reach.
Mr. Renfield, I find you most disturbing, as well as significantly stomach-churning. Most disgusting. I desire that our acquaintance should be a short one.
Oh, it will be. It will be short. Like I told you, I'm a beacon, and right now, I can feel them approaching. I can feel them coming in on the winds.
Who, pray tell? Fairies? Angels? A great honking thunderbird?
The brides! They're coming to liberate me! Master must need some daylight help on his new farm. I'm not to be discarded after all!
What a terrible time to be Reeve. The newspapers for all the wrong reasons. Say now, did he say Van Helsing? It's a young Dutchman by that name out on the 8th concession. Who knows, though? It's probably a common surname in the Low Countries.
Van Helsing! He's the worst! He knows all our deep, dark secrets. He is skilled at the art of putting the undead to death!
Absolute gibberish! Mr. Renfield, if I had a nest of earwigs, I would gladly pour them right down your palate.
Do you hear that, Reeve? Sounds like the geese are leaving early this year.
The brides! The brides!
How very excitable you are. Do they not have geese in England?
You'll see.
I'm starting to get one of those spinal cord tingles we sheriffs sometimes get when a malefactor lurks in wait for us. Perhaps with a burning desire to cleave our skulls. Maybe I'll go back down to the pokey and load up on some more weapons. Did you hear that, Reeve? We might be dealing with whooping cranes. Or turkey vultures. I don't want to hit you. I don't want to hit you because you're a girl. Although those rattlesnake fangs lead me to believe you're not a real lady. I know what you are. You're a vampire. And you just bit our Reeve. And he was up for re-election too. As sheriff, I'm telling you, you can't be flapping around my town because the law says you don't exist.
Drain his veins! Turn him into nothing but a dried up husk. What? Why me? No, you're making a mistake! I did betray the master. I'm faithful! Faithful, I tell you!
Lady, please. Oh, this is gonna give me nightmares for sure. And all I have to protect myself is my rifle. And these two sticks! Say now, how the hell am I still alive?
Hello? Hello? Is anyone here? Hello?
Yes, I am here. Forgive me, I am just waking up.
Just waking up, but it's nearly twilight.
Yes, I am sorry. I have a medical condition, one that dooms me to solitude.
Are you disfigured, my son?
How is it that you call me son? I assure you that I am much older than you.
I am Father Francis Reardon. I make it a point to familiarize myself with everyone in my parish. What happened to old Sheldon Shell? I thought this was his farm.
I acquired this property from him. He has gone off to join his relatives. My name is Vladimir. I am a nobleman and a free thinker.
I'm trying to place that accent.
The Carpathian Mountains of Transylvania, where the unbroken forests make this country look like a desert.
A nobleman, you say? And yet you speak of solitude. Have you no staff?
They are all out, seeking food.
Well, there's something to be said for an old world vintage, and certainly this town could use an influx of higher breeding, of blue blood. I say, Vladimir, would it be too much trouble for you to invite me in? I've got something rather urgent to discuss with you.
I am one of those that need to be invited in.
Oh, and a free thinker, too. Well, I don't suppose I'll alter your convictions with one visit, but as a priest, I feel it incumbent upon me to rail against the pride of man.
I am not a man!
Well, here it is, then. Although I'm sure you're a victim of coincidence, your arrival in our settlement happened at the same time as that perplexing ghost train floundered at the edge of town. A train with no crew or passengers. Save a madman and a dead man in a coffin. You've heard the tale?
I've heard of it. Am I under a suspicion?
Oh, I'm sure the sheriff will include you in his rounds, but if you indeed have nothing to hide...
I have plenty to hide, but I need not fear the law.
I wish you would come out and talk to me, Vladimir. I am not as easily distracted as you might think.
Perhaps not. Tell me, you are a priest, and as a priest, I can talk to you about anything?
Absolutely you may.
Do you believe that your God pervades all things and can protect you in all situations?
I do, my son.
No! I am no one's son. Although I have sired many children, I want to tell you that there are many dark places where God does not venture. Tell me, has your priestcraft ever brought you face to face with a demon?
There's nothing diabolical about you, Vladimir. You're merely a lonely, confused man who feels he's beyond the love of God.
That's all you think I am? You had no other suspicions when you came here?
I came to see for myself.
Probably at the priest's college, at the seminary where you studied. However rural and benighted it might have been, there were certain old books that everyone scoffed at. They are from simpler times, born of ignorance. But in those books, within those ancient pages, you would learn how to deal with the likes of me.
Are you sure you don't just think you are what you think you are? After all, your companion on that train was a genuine madman.
I am what I am. It saddens me that I must always keep running from you insects. If I had been left alone, unmolested, I would have tried to feed exclusively on vagrants and visitors. I would have tried to preserve a fragile peace. You are a brave man to come here alone.
I am never alone.
Neither am I!
Strega! Sanguine vampirus! I will tell all, and if they believe me, we will come for you as you sleep. I spent many fruitful hours with those dusty old books. I know enough to recognize you as one of Satan's soldiers. I know enough to know that we must pierce your heart, remove your head.
Then you must know that I cannot lay a finger on a man of God, especially considering your cache of holy water and your miniature replication of a Roman execution tool. There is, however, one dark power that is often forgotten. Mastery over wild animals! Pride of man indeed.
You're acting strange, Gerardus, ever since the ghost train.
I'm acting strange? You're acting even stranger. Why did you have to go down there alone without talking to me? I know the life of a farmer's wife is full of drudgery, but must you confront danger directly?
What's that you've got?
A letter from several years ago from my Uncle Abraham in Rotterdam.
The one who hunted monsters?
Believe it or not, Helene, as for me, I believe it. God could not have created this world without conflicting forces, nor could he have kept himself amused if he didn't create his own opponents.
Well, what is there to worry about here? There are barely people living here, let alone vampires. And the best that can be said about your Dutch uncle is he was benignly bad.
And what about the empty train? Do you have any comments on the train?
Likely a robbery. Passengers forced out, bandits fled, the engine left to run out.
My My Uncle Abraham had several run-ins with one specific fiend, Count Dracula. He ran into him in Transylvania and again in England. He threatened to eradicate the entire Van Helsing bloodline. Every last red drop of it. That means me. Perhaps you too, although you may be spared as you're only a Van Helsing by marriage. What concerns me is the fiend is eternal. He has nothing but time on his hands, and now that Uncle Abraham has gone to the angels above, that good old-fashioned old age.
That's it. You see, he suffered the mania that often comes with one's declining years. Some people talk to mice. Others see ghosts in the wallpaper. Your uncle's obsession is with the deathless bloodsucker.
No. His letter was written with a clear mind. Just in case, it says. Just in case.
Well, what should we do? Start sharpening sticks? Go down to the general store and load up on garlic cloves? Melt down our wedding silver?
Are you not afraid, Helene? Just a little?
I cannot remember a time when I was not frightened. But I fear the scourges of this world. Disease, drought, and the possibility that your love for me may wane.
Now it is you that fret too much. Very well then. Call it an ancestral hobby. But do we not sit in church every Sunday talking of a boiling world down below? A world full of monsters that beggar all description? That delight in the full spectacle of torment?
If there are such things, I believe they cannot come after you if you do not call for them.
No. I am a man who likes to be prepared. Just as I have a gun for the beasts of the field, I will not stand by idly if something of a different magnitude comes calling.
Well, that crossbow contraption of yours will at least get you mentioned in the newspaper.
Laugh if you will, Helene. Perhaps there will come a day when you won't. But even if the craftsmanship is solid, a stake shooter does no good. If you pierce the vampire in the flank or the upper shoulder, you must pierce its heart. Just as I pierced yours all those years ago when I came courting.
Just when I feel overwrought with anger for you, you find a way to make it all seem charming. It is daylight still. Surely we have nothing to fear in the daylight.
Perhaps there is a simple explanation for the train. But I need you to know that my Uncle Abraham was neither deluded nor a gas bag. He was one of the most respected scientists in all of Holland.
Yes, and my Uncle Hubert could climb the church steeple when he'd been drinking.
What a sharp-tongued, teasing little wife you are. Always armed with a mouthful of mockery. Although I have no intentions of leaving you alone. Wear a crucifix.
How about I munch garlic until kissing me makes her hair stand on end?
Indulge me as I indulge you.
Very well. I shall wear a cross and hold your quiver of stakes. And tremble at the darkness.
They say there was a madman on board and a dead man in a coffin. Can't you see why my nerves are frayed? If I could see these things and they seemed like normal things, well then, perhaps I could put my mind at ease. Helene, what are those marks on your neck?
I don't know. I was going to tell you, but I thought you'd get angry. I'm sorry, Gerardus! Gerardus, it's a bug bite! Please! Believe me! What?
Okay. I believe you, my love. I believe you.
The work they do by daylight, we must do by night. Although we can never taste these fruits of the earth, we need the illusion they provide. The illusion of a working farm. In time, the ghost train will pass into legend. Their memories are so fallible. With a little more time, they will not believe it at all, and we will be left alone. This land pleases me. I would be happy to spend many a lifetime as Vladimir, a simple tiller of the soil. Look! You must wound the ground to sow the seed. I have only to kill the last trace of my enemy. The last of the Van Helsings! And then we will be able to focus exclusively on cultivation! This land is not without its faults. The prevalence of wanderers, for instance.
All right, Mr. Fancy European. You are under arrest for unpeopling that train and for perpetuating the murders of Reeve, Fowler, and your madman friend as well. These 4 crazy dames are coming down to the pokey too. I don't know where y'all come from, but around here we don't behave like that.
I have killed your local priest. There are bits of him out back.
The hell you did? What are you trying to do, kill everybody? I ought to gun you down like a rabid dog.
You may try, if you like.
Well, are y'all gonna come along quietly then?
We can do what we need to do in relative silence. My bride, remove this agitation from our lives and from life in general.
Gerardus Van Helsing, where you at, my man? I wouldn't wait much longer. They'll look plenty mad.
Yeah. I'm on my way. Just showing my wife how to load up a crossbow.
Well, I'd appreciate some haste. Looks like they're getting ready for a dirty 5-on-1 pile-on.
Van Helsing! He came to me. I didn't have to go to him. They really are a sharp family. Come out and make a proper introduction of yourself. Perhaps I can tell you a thing or two about your famous uncle before I kill you. I admired him greatly, you know. He was such a formidable adversary. My brides, if you do not want to bite the sheriff's neck, simply snap it twixt your soft white palms, and I will wait for Van Helsing.
So remember, just as I showed you, dear, aim for the heart. We're down to our final 2 stakes, so we'll go after the big bat. Sheriff's a trained professional. He can take care of himself. You're a natural, Helena, natural! Now, if all goes well, he's gonna shriek and shrivel and go to dust. Which he's not doing.
Ladies, believe me when I tell you this. Each one of you is still quite beautiful, especially for women of your years. It's a shame you're giving me no choice but to defend myself. And through a combination of Van Helsing's advice and my own cunning, I stretched a wee little crucifix into each one of these bullets.
My brides! They have been with me for so long! I had a kind of affection for them. Of attachment you mortals have are all so strange to me. I can abide isolation as the natural state of an eternal being, but I will have to leave this land, this Canada. I have made too grand an impression. No one will have visited my castle in the Carpathian Mountains. They would have been too scared to visit me there. It was a near miss. A little to the left, and it would have been all over for me. It forces introspection. Nephew of Van Helsing, this is not about vengeance. I am simply honoring a promise I made. A first for me. Such an impersonal method of dispatch. But what can I do? I have had too much blood today, and I do believe I am full. Our business is settled, Abraham. There is no trace of you left. Now, to find some train tracks heading east. As for you, speak of me in whispers and know that dying is a luxury. I envy you the privilege of impermanence, but dying seems much sweeter than being. The truth is, nothing moves me anymore.